Welcome to Jey and Meka channel. Today, Jey is not here once again, and we have a special co-host, Bits of Whit. Go check her out on her Instagram. She's going to be, commentate with me today, doing a little bit of girl talk today on our channel about Love Island, once again, episode 32. So, without further ado, let's get started. So, this episode was slightly lackluster. Slightly. It wasn't as fun as the baby challenge. I think so far, honestly, the baby challenge is one of my favorite episodes. Like, what do you think?
Yeah, because it was fun.
It was fun.
Really, you didn't have to think too much. You didn't have to think who was plotting and scheming. So that was a nice break from that. But we're back to the norm.
To the drama. So, This episode, pretty much out the gate. So, I was saying that they really haven't utilized a hideaway a lot, on this season. Now, it was brought to my attention, and I totally forgot that Nick and Sierra had gone in the hideout early on. That was the last time the hideout was used. I think it was when she was brought in as a bombshell. I don't even remember what happened with that, right? So, but yeah, I was like, oh yeah, I think I do remember that. But yeah, so the hideaway is being broken out again all of a sudden. And it goes to Brian and Amaya. And although I like Amaya, and she has become a fan favorite, Amaya Papaya, I don't really know much about Brian. It's Brian, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, Brian. He's cute. You know what I'm saying? He's cute. He seems like a nice guy. But I feel like I don't care about their connection that much because he's so new. Not so much Amaya, but I do think that they're a good fit. I wish he would have came along earlier and they really developed into something, because I think that's what this season is kind of lacking for me, just the development of the couples. What do you think?
Yeah. No, I agree. There's no formed couples, and that's just been the problem with the season. And I think that these two, Amaya gives so much to it, She gives so much to this relationship in general.
Mm-hmm.
And I think he does like her. You can tell he likes her. They have a good connection. They have all the tension that's necessary. But like you said, we don't know him.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, I think all the attention is going into Amaya.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And how much we love Amaya.
Right.
But that's really what this season is giving. It's all individual characters. There's no couples.
That's true. I'm not super connected. But in the hideaway, they got it popping in the hideaway. I can't say what they said, but they got it popping in the hideaway. So, right. It seemed like she did her thing. They came. Yeah. So she looked really cute. She did look cute. Her little pink outfit. That was really cute. They came out. Girls were excited. Guys were excited. They tell the girls and guys that they, again, sealed the deal or whatever. And, again, I didn't really feel too much of a connection to it. I didn't have an awe moment. You know what I'm saying? I just didn't have that. But yeah, so that happened. And then they went to, play basketball?
Yep, the guys went and did a little basketball outing. I think this was very obviously tailored to Chris.
Oh, and Pepe, because he's professional basketball.
Oh, and Pepe, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Can't forget about Pepe. But definitely to those two. And I mean, watching their little reel.
Yeah.
I was like, what are we playing here, guys? Already? What game is this? Is this 3-on-3?
Right, I was a little confused. Who I was shocked about, though, and it was funny because Shelly, I was like, no, girl. She was like, when she found out they were playing basketball, she was like, Ace better win because we're not winning anything. And I was like,
girl,
child, he's about to go play with two professional basketball players. He's not about to win. I'm sorry to tell you, Shelly. However, I will say he was out there balling low key. I'm an ex-basketball player. So, yeah, he was holding his own for his height.
Maybe he was getting a little fancy. I wasn't really noticing. I was paying attention to Chris and Pepe.
Oh my gosh, right?
And Nick, Nick.
Oh, yeah. Nick was good too. I was like, okay. Yeah. Yeah. So then they come back and Chris and Hedda have their one of their first conversations, right?
Well, kind of. First, the guys talk.
That's right. That's right.
The guys do kind of
That's
like
right.
a round table with each other, and they kind of go back and forth and discuss where everyone is at, and blah blah blah. And everyone's pretty positive,
right,
except for Chris. And Chris is kind of like, something's lacking. You know, I'm noticing that she doesn't want to kiss me in public, and she doesn't want to like do things in front of people, and she's weird.
Right.
So then he says he's gonna address it with her later that night.
Right.
And then we kind of get to. I thought it was kind of funny that when the guys came back and they made up that story.
Yeah, that was funny. Yeah.
But for the story to be that Ace dunked.
That was funny. Somebody lifted him up.
Like, really? I said, really? Who said really?
I promise you, and I don't know if I was imagining something, but when they were playing that game, I promise you, I thought I saw somebody lift Ace up. I'm not trying to be funny. I really think I saw somebody lift Ace up. But right. But when they were at the court, this is when Taylor tells them that, you know, he really likes Clark and he wants to become like official with Clark. He didn't even use the word closed off, baby. He
said exclusive.
Exclusive. Okay. So, yeah. So, like you said, that from those conversations, they come back to the villa, and then, like you said, they're joking around and whatnot. And this is when Chris has the first conversation with her, right? Where he's like, kind of joking around with her a little bit, and you could tell she's kind of on edge. And, you know, he said something weird, like, he said, she was like, "You like me?" And he's like, "I really like you." And then she's like, "Really?" You know, like that or whatever. And then he made some weird comment about her throwing up in his mouth. He likes her so much that he would allow her to do that. And then she was like, "No." And then she was like, "Don't say."
I think he was joking.
He was definitely joking. He was joking.
You know, and she just again tried to make it serious.
Right.
You know? And also too, she kept cutting him off.
At that point too.
Yeah, and so, was it the second conversation?
That was the second conversation. This was, So that happened there, and they cut his mic. I don't know if you saw that. They cut his mic when he stood up, because he was kind of over talking to her after, when that whole situation happened, and he got up. They cut his mic, and you see his lips moving like he said something. She kind of looks at him like sideways a little bit, and everybody's trying to figure out, like, what did he really say when they cut that mic? But acquiring minds want to know. We want to know.
Because he was definitely over it.
He was, yeah. And that's so crazy because he really likes her. You know, it seems like he really likes her anyway. But yeah, so then that night, Taylor comes up with this idea to officially ask Clark to be his woman. And she's a cheerleader. She's an ex-cheerleader, or she might be a current cheerleader. I don't know. But he came up with this. I thought it was a kind of cute idea. I know. But I thought it was a cute idea. They did a little cheer for Clark. And in the end, he asked her to be his girl. And, you know, it was like, yay.
Here's my thing. I think it would be cute if I believed it. You know?
I hear you.
I think that, while I do think Taylor likes Clark,
I
think doing the big gesture and closing it off. First of all, you're closing it off to what? No more bombshells are coming in.
That's true.
Nothing left.
Oh, so was that shade to Alondria? Was that shade to her?
Probably. No, well, I don't know so much that it was shade to Alondria as just trying to play to the cameras, you know? And I think that, again, I feel like he thought he had a little time.
And he,
votes and they were out that night.
Right.
I think that's what it was, if I'm being honest. I think that the whole playing closed off and whatnot is supposed to happen before, when you have, like options. Other than that,
that makes sense.
We're all stuck in our couples.
That makes sense.
You know?
That makes a lot of sense. I don't know.
They don't even vote off individually. They vote off by
couple. Yeah. I think that the producers were messy, because if you notice, every time he was hugging Clark, Alondra was coincidentally in the background, or in between them in the background. I'm like, y'all are so messy.
I feel bad for her for that, just because the way he gave her nothing and made it seem like that's not the type of guy he was, made it seem like, it was so difficult to do the minimum for her, you know. And then I'd be like, well, I really like Clark, so I have. No
it is kind of like a slap in the face for sure.
But that's why when people tell you if he wanted to, he would.
He would for sure, definitely. That is so true. And you know, I feel like that takes time to really understand that. I mean, unless you're just super mature in regard to relationships, or maybe you've had healthy relationships growing up, or that you've watched flourish and whatnot. I know for me, it took me a long time to really understand that coming into womanhood, because yeah, like, you know, you do the most for people that really don't deserve it, especially when you're younger. And then you realize once you actually get that, once you actually get with somebody that's willing to do those things and you're not begging, you're like, oh my goodness, what have I been doing? Like, you know, so yeah.
The fact that he never even gave her the shirt he was wearing, she was cold.
No.
You know? And Nick gives her that shirt every time.
He does. Oh, Nikki, baby.
It matters to understand people's ability to show up for you.
Right.
And I don't think she was able to understand that.
Yeah, for sure. And then they got the text, right? Did they get the
I think around then is when they got the text. I'm trying to think if Huda and Chris had their second conversation before or after that. Something we missed. Sorry.
What?
Iris and Pepe. Let's go back.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Let's go back. Because Iris and Pepe got it in.
Did. They did.
You know, we never want to miss a hookup.
We don't want to miss a hookup, but I'm just like, I don't think I could do it. Ah, you said, listen. I don't.
Do it. Like, what are we doing here?
What are we doing?
Oh, we got like 3 days left. Like,
right.
So she took that opportunity for sure. She did.
Yeah.
And I was there for it. For them. But it's just an active bedroom.
It's an active bedroom for sure. It is an active bedroom for sure. Actually, yeah. Now, no. Right after the whole Taylor and Clark situation, that's when Chris and Huda talked. They had their second talk. And he asked her, he was like, you know, you don't want to really like kiss me around other people. You're not really affectionate around other people. Like, what's that about? Because I guess earlier in the day, he tried to kiss her and she kind of like looked around. And what was funny to me was she knew exactly what he was talking about. He was like, do you remember what happened earlier? She was like, yeah, I looked around. And he was like, well, why did you do that? And she was like, well, you know, I'm just trying not to make the same mistakes. And I'm trying not to. Ma'am, you were popping on a handstand with the lady parts all up in this man's face. I know y'all were playing a game, but ma'am, okay? Not only that, y'all sealed the deal, which I'm not sure if Huda is aware that the other cast members know that. I don't think she, now that I think about it, I don't think she knows that they know that.
They put a condom on her.
They did. Okay, they sure did. But
and like I said, it's an active bedroom.
It's an active bedroom. And she's just like, you know, I'm not trying to do the same thing, but baby, you are. You
well,
like.
Let me play devil's advocate. Hate to show up for her. I don't hate to, because you know I'll be an advocate where I can.
Yeah, like I get it.
You have to look at how people did treat her with Jeremiah.
Right.
I think she might have a little bit of PTSD.
She does.
You know? Especially then, it then also continues with the Shelly situation with Chris.
Yeah.
You know? So I can definitely see her worried about like.
I can understand that too.
Interpretation, and I don't think he's thinking about that. Because technically he was never part of any of that. He was never chastised for.
That's true. That's true.
He never came to him.
Yeah.
He wasn't there when Jeremiah was there.
Yeah.
So he didn't have to see how everyone dogpiled on her.
Yeah.
And barely said anything to Jeremiah. You know?
Do you think that if she really felt that way, though, right? Because I get your point. Do you think if she really felt that way, maybe it wasn't the best idea that you also, sealed the deal with him as well, like physically?
Probably was not, but she was about that.
She was about that. But do you get what I'm saying, though? It's like...
I do.
It's like, I get what you're saying. I understand that. And you are allowed to set boundaries. Everybody is allowed to set boundaries. Yeah. There's nothing wrong with that. I think it's the consistency of her boundaries that's called to question of the matter of them being consistent. But I think that Chris, like, he was just, once again, he kind of is over it. And he really doesn't understand. I do think that he's been pretty understanding for the most part. And I think right now he is being maybe a little selfish for him right now. Yeah. Maybe.
And so I think he's starting to get the little things that she does that are a lot. Like the cutting him off when he's talking and things like that, where she can be very overbearing. Mm-hmm. She's very, very bossy. Mm-hmm. And I think she expects for her man to fall into
place.
That. Yeah, and I don't think that's something that he wants.
I think also it's kind of hard when she's not willing to also fall into place, right? Like, everything is based off of what she wants. And again, there's things about her story that I really do sympathize with and understand. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's clear she has had some either emotional trauma that has occurred to her, whatever the case is, because she has like a definitely attachment style. Like, that is who Hutta is through and through. And like I said in the last one, like, that's going to take a special man that has patience to deal with that. You know what I mean? And she could grow, you know what I'm saying? But it's going to have to be on her time, and then with a partner that can understand her and kind of help her with that a little bit,
Yeah.
That she builds trust with.
And if I'm being honest, I don't think a public forum was the best place for her to attempt to find that person,
I said that weeks ago.
Yeah, she has so much growing to do.
Yeah.
When it comes to relationships and her emotional intelligence level, that this was probably a place where she should just come to have fun, because I don't think she's ready for those things, and which is sad, because she does have a kid.
Yeah.
And I think that she's looking for that.
Right. I think Love is Blind would have been better. I think Love is Blind would have been
good for nobody.
But I feel like at least the concept is meant for longevity, not like some quick hookup type thing. I don't think that's the type of show that Hutta needed to be on. Also, I just want to say this, because all the talk online, I really need people to understand that two things can be true at the same time. I think some people just kind of be like, well, I'm a Hutta rider and I'm going to just ride with her through anything, no matter what shit, that whole girl's girl attitude, right? And the reality is, it's like, it's like, you can't, it's okay to like say, okay, I see where Hutta went wrong here, but I also see where she went right here. Like, I can see it's okay to be like that. I think people online are very much like, oh, if you don't like Hutta, then you're a hater. No, one thing can be true. Hutta is a beautiful girl. It can be true that you are a beautiful girl, but you are emotionally immature. You are not able to handle a relationship right now. These things can be true. Like, you know what I'm saying? Her being pretty has nothing to do with how she is in relationships. Because I've even seen on TikTok where her friends have come forward and they're like, she's the sweetest person in the world. She's so nice. Those are friendships. That's not relationships. Yeah. And we are all different in relationships. Yeah. Okay? Like, so, and that's nothing against her, So.
Yeah, it's definitely. And I think the funny thing about it was them both going to Amaya for support and like advice. You know what? It seems funny, but I think she was the best person.
She really was. She was sweet. She's so sweet. Yeah, she's so sweet.
And I think that she was able to look at the situation and say, like, from each person's perspective, here's the positive. Don't think of that person only in the negative.
Right.
Which, of course, makes you just love Amaya even more.
Right.
But it's just, I think that she was the perfect person for them to talk to.
Yeah.
There was no judgment there. And she was definitely playing to both of them individually.
I think she was very fair. She was very fair. And like, what I liked about it, now that you mentioned that, when she was talking to Huda, you could tell she handled Huda with like care. Like, she was really careful with like her words, you know, because we know what she knows. And instead of her saying, well, he's saying you sleeping with him, so da 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 da, she didn't even mention that. If you notice, she just talked about like, hey, maybe see his side. She really did handle that well. She really did. Amaya's kind of a complex individual, ain't she? She's a little bit complex, I guess.
I think that's where it comes down to with shows like this. You can't judge people just off of, you know, your first interaction with them or your first, you know, conception of them, because she's definitely someone who we've seen different sides of her, right?
Yeah.
You know, she may not pronounce every word correctly. But, you know, I'd like to try dive skiving too.
Right.
You know, we learn something new every day.
Yeah.
But I think that even like with her in that situation, how she handles Zach in that situation, you know, even though she did tell him off appropriately. So,
she did.
She came back later and said, you know what? I do still apologize because it's not okay for me to call you names.
Yeah.
It's not okay for me to, you know, speak, you know, cuss at you and things like that. You know, which shows a ridiculous amount of maturity.
It does. It really does.
Because I would have cussed them out and went the other way.
Bye.
You know, I would have done.
Right. Right.
So I think that's a very interesting highlight of her.
Yeah, for sure. And again, like, this season has been a roller coaster of feelings for the cast. Because one minute you're like I was riding with Shelly. I thought Shelly was the most mature. You know, just, I had her up on this little pedestal, and then, like, that one show happened, I was like, what happened? You know, and then Ace, like, at one point, I was like, I can't stand Ace, and then it was like, well, Ace got a point. That's what I mean by I think it shows maturity when you're able to really just look at things and, like, kind of be like, what's fair is fair, what's right is right, you know, and not just be on blinders just because you like somebody or you think they're pretty. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's like, no. Because I'll sit on here and I'll say, you know, Huda is like really pretty. She seems really sweet. You know what I'm saying? But then she does this, and that, right? Like, I think that's okay to say that. But yeah, so we're at the end of the episode, and what ends up happening?
Taylor and Clark gotta say goodbye.
Taylor and Clark never can say goodbye.
We can say goodbye.
Goodbye.
No shade against them. Not convinced.
Yeah.
I mean, it genuinely, I think out of all the couples, even the brand new ones,
right?
Even the friends to lovers, whatever you want to call it, I just feel like theirs has been the most curated as of this, you know, time. I feel like a big part of it was Ace too, telling him exactly what to do. You know, telling him how to play to the cameras, how to play to people, to try to rebuild after the genuine, whatever that little game was, where they stood on the thing from least to most.
Yeah.
If you notice, ever since then, him and Clark have been on like Clark have been on.
I wasn't gonna say nothing. I was gonna let it ride.
On a little tour. Yeah, they've been on like a tour to rebuild their persona.
Yeah, they have. They knew they was going home though.
They knew they were going home.
The way they was hugged up there, they knew they was going home.
They knew they were going home.
But yeah.
And two, again, it was time.
It was time.
Taylor should have been off a while ago. I've been tired of seeing his face for a while.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna be honest.
As far as their future predictions, I feel like Clark gonna go back home and he gonna go back home and they ain't gonna talk. I don't think they're gonna be together.
100%.
I don't think they're gonna be together. I don't see it.
I think they might do the rounds right after the show. You know, some appearances,
media stuff.
Let's be clear. But he's gonna go back to the country and she's gonna go back to the city, and that's it.
That'd be that.
City girl.
She is a city girl.
In all terms.
And then they ask you to pick your favorite couple at the end. And this is where I have a problem because I'm not committed to nobody. And that's weird to me because this is a show that has over 30 some episodes, and by now I feel like I should really just be invested in someone. Like last season, I already knew who I wanted to win. I knew exactly who I wanted to win last season. This season, I'm like, I was going through, because I went to vote. I actually went to vote. Yeah. And I was like, I don't know.
Well, here's the thing. Like I said last episode, at this point, we're going strongly off vibes.
Yeah.
You know? And I think that, to me, the two standouts when it comes to that is Nick and Alandria and Amaya and Brian. Only because I feel like they both have had journeys.
Yeah.
And one person actually wins. The couple doesn't win. One person wins.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, so basically at the end, a couple wins that America chooses, right?
Right.
So they win that part. But only one person wins the money.
Really?
They have to choose to split the money.
Oh, okay, I see.
Or keep the money to themselves.
Okay.
And usually they choose to split the money.
To split it, yeah.
But that's how it actually goes. So I feel like for me, it's going to come down to either Amaya or Alandria.
Yeah.
And then their partner.
You want to know something? Today I was in like a little chat thing, and this guy put up, who are y'all choosing? When I tell you there were so many Chris and Huddas in there, the Hudda stands don't play. Like, they don't. So I would not be shocked if she ended up winning, because they did not play about her. That girl got 400 million followers, some shit.
Yeah, no, she got followers though. See, that's the thing. That's why I don't feel like it's fair to pull these people on that have a huge follower base.
Yeah. Because
they're all gonna vote for them, regardless.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And it's like, why? Well, then what's the point of the show? You might as well just have influencer Love Island.
Yeah.
That's not very fair to people who come on and they come on with 20K.
Right.
And it's like, that's not what the show's supposed to be about, but that's what it is now.
Do you think that they should do away with the voting to make it more authentic, and the people that are in the house who are around each other every day really can determine who should stay and who should go?
No, I think we've seen the reason why for that this season.
Oh. Well,
if you're in the house, you can't see anything that's happening, right?
Right.
And also
that is true. You can't see. That's right.
If it had been based on this season, Ace and his goons would be top 3. It would be Ace and Shelly.
Oh yeah.
Taylor and Clark, and
Nick and whoever he with. Nick and whoever.
Basically. So that's what happened. And I mean, that's a bias, right? That's a bias because
that makes sense. I didn't think about it like that.
They're not reliable.
Yeah.
I think we already give them too much voting, actually, because they keep voting the wrong people off half the time.
They do. Yeah.
I don't. I think it should be. I think the way that we vote should be more intentional. Like, they make us vote. Like, vote for your favorite couple. Okay. Then they do the bottom 3, and the Islanders vote.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, well, the bottom 3 is most of the time the bottom 3 in the house anyway. And they're gonna still make the wrong decision.
Right.
Like, if we're gonna vote, use our vote. Period.
That's true. Yeah, but gosh, I think maybe it's more so what you were saying about the influencer thing, because then you have that part of the bias, right? Like, almost like, can y'all just pick regular people or no? Like, I don't know, but well,
social media is interesting, it's fun, but it also takes a lot away from stuff like this.
It does.
That was built on a different structure.
Right. So, well, that was the end of episode 32 of Love Island USA. Tomorrow they will be voting off another couple, I believe.
Yes.
Yeah. And again, it's based off of America's vote, so
apparently.
Yeah. So that's it for us tonight. Don't forget to like, subscribe, follow us on all of our social media. channels. We are currently on TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook. Facebook is popping, y'all. I know that's weird, but it is popping. So y'all go check that out.
Yes.
Make sure y'all hit that notification bell, and make sure y'all go follow Bits of Whit over at Instagram. Again, she is growing her channel. She's growing it fast, and she's again doing a great job. I've really enjoyed having her on here. I need my girl talk sometimes. I love Jay, but I need my girl talk sometimes. So
it's so necessary. We gotta sometimes time the boys out.
Right.
All the noise gotta go.
Yeah, so we can get to the real tea. You feel me? So anyway, we'll see you tomorrow. All right then. Bye.